Just check this out. I mean, don't you just love that? Hello and welcome to haQ. My name is Jakob, I'm your host, and you're watching a haQ episode. This is Unique by SugarBytes. It sounds absolutely brilliant. It's got a very analog type sound to it, and it's so easy getting some really nasty, gnarly, gritty sounds out of it right off the bat. Right, so before we dig into this and I walk you through all of the cool functions inside this awesome synthesizer, I just want to highlight that Unique is Audiobus compatible. It has support for inter-app audio mode. It also supports MIDI, full-on virtual ports and hardware. And it also has support for Ableton Link, which is why we can see this BPM setting here. Now, all of the settings for the audio, MIDI, Ableton Link, etc., you can find those if you go to the cogwheel menu and into settings. Apart from the settings. Apart from this thing here, you can also find settings for pitch, LFO, pitch bend, and global controls for velocity and tuning. Right, so Unique does come with a load of different presets. Now, I'm not too interested in the presets already in here. I never get a synthesizer for the sounds that it contains. I get synthesizers for the sounds I can make with them. So I'm not going to bother with these too much. However, I want to mention this. You can see this right here. This is the user folder. So yes, you can save your own presets. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Right here we can see two oscillators and they both work the same way. So I'll only have to explain one of them. So let's focus in on oscillator 1. Up here we have the waveform chooser. And in it we have 5 different waveforms to choose from. Sawtooth, triple saw, pulse, triple FM, and noise. And depending on what you choose will also change the row of knobs up here. So right now we have the triple saw. If we go back to the triple FM, then we have 4 knobs. Now I want to start by showing you some of the modulation capabilities, because that's a strong point of this synthesizer. The way that you can modulate all of the knobs right here, and even some of the buttons. Yes, you can even modulate some of the modulation functions things with modulation. Awesome! Alright, so let's stay inside the controllers menu. Now here is where you find all of your modulation sources. Well, actually you find 4 of your 5 modulation sources, because MIDI can also be used as a modulation source, something I will show you in a bit. So what we can see here is a sequencer, a motion tracking pad, and the regular LFO and envelope that you normally find inside a modulation section. Now I find this interesting because you can record your own. So you simply make sure that you have the recording mode on and then just... And there you go. Now, if you've just recorded something and you find that motion to be a bit jerky, then you have this smoothing knob that can smoothen the modulation out. But I'm gonna keep it here. I want it to be quite extreme for what I'm going to do. I want to use the motion control to modulate the FM knob inside the oscillator. So let's go out of here and find the FM knob right there. Now, to enter modulation mode, or to enter the menu for the modulations, you just long press until this pops up. And here you can choose between LFO, envelope, sequencer, and motion X coordinate or Y coordinates. Down here you also have the MIDI learn and clearing functions, and the clear also clears the other modulations options you've chosen. And I shouldn't say other, filters, I should really highlight that you can only use one modulation source at one time on one element. So it's not like you can have all of these controlling the FM knob now. No, you'll have to choose. And I'm gonna choose the Y motion. And there we go. Now to remove this modulation source, we just long press and use that clearing function we saw earlier. Clear, and it's clear. But let's say we want to modulate the shape controller, and we long press, and we want to do it with the LFO. As you can see right now, it's moving quite slowly from one side to the other. The space in where it modulates can be set. So if we go to the controllers page, and we can see this thing here. Now, if we only want the middle part of the knob to be affected, then we just pull in on this one and pull in on this one. And when we go back, we'll see that the knob will only move in the middle right here. So it's all very straightforward. But let's say we're not happy with the modulation sources here. Let's say we want to use something else. Right now, I've got unique loaded inside Audiobus, and in the MIDI page, I've routed MIDI LFOs through Audiobus into unique, which means we can now modulate whatever we want inside unique with MIDI LFOs. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna pull down on the speed a bit. And then we go back to unique. We're gonna long press on the FM knob and then press learn. And as we can see, it's now getting affected by MIDI LFOs. And to show you that this is the case, we'll go to MIDI LFOs, up the rating, and go back to unique. And now we can see it's going crazy. And again, I can't even emphasize how much I love the fact that you can do this with any type of knob. So you can have modulation mayhem going on. Just keep on assigning stuff until you go blue in your face. Right, so in between the oscillators, we have the mixer sections, where we can individually pan both of the oscillators left and right in the stereo field. We can also set the levels for them. And the cool thing with the panning function, it has an auto pan function, which is awesome. And of course, the rate is locked to the BPM. So yeah, I just love it. Now, if we look over here, we can find the unison mode with spread functions or detuning mode, as I used earlier in this episode, and also settings for the arpeggiator. And the cool thing with the arpeggiator is that you can have the arpeggiator on or off for each of the oscillators independently. And this is pretty cool. So in here you can find all of the usual settings you find for an arpeggiator. And of course the arpeggiator is locked into the tempo of the session that you're running. This arpeggiator also has a double mode. Now, next to the double function, you can find this thing right here. And this is interesting. It's tied to how the arpeggiator starts, basically. Now, the filter function has a similar thing right here. So you can get the filter to be triggered by the arpeggiator, each note, the first note played in the chord, lowest note or loudest note, which is pretty awesome. We're gonna stay in the filter. The filter has various filter modes. Now, I wanna highlight that the bandpass 2-pole and 4-pole filters are perfect to be used with the vowel setting. Right, so here we have a vowel function, and in here we can see the vowels. And yes, these can also be modulated, which is awesome. So whenever you're using the vowel mode, try it with either of the bandpass filters because they contain the best frequencies to do vowels with. So in the vowel mode, we can see that we have 2 vowels to choose from. When we untap the vowel mode, we can see that we have a cutoff knob and a peak knob instead. And of course, the filter also has its own envelope. Moving on in the signal chain, and we hit the FX section where you can have two effects loaded at the same time, and in here we can find the different effects. So in the first FX slot you can find delay, reverb, phaser, lo-fi and filter, and in the second slot instead of filter you'll find a chorus. Lastly, we have the master output, where we have a tremolo setting with a rate setting, and that is also tied to the BPM. And right below it we have the volume knob for the sub oscillator and an octave switch with 5 modes. Under all of this we have a keyboard. Now there's no scaling mode, no hold mode, nothing like that. And you switch your octaves by tapping these arrows right here. You do have a modulation wheel and you do have a pitch bend. Now I could explain more about the sequencer itself, but I really don't think you need explanations for it. And that's basically everything you have inside this synth. I seriously recommend Unique. It's got a ridiculous price for an awesome amount of synth. It sounds absolutely great, and thanks to all of the modulation options you have, including MIDI into there, the Ableton Link sync, it's just awesome. The sound of the thing just makes my skin tickle when I play around with it, and I especially like making bass sounds with it. Do go grab it from the App Store. You can find an app link down below in the description box. Right, so before I leave, I just want to say that not so long ago I put up this video. This is basically me using Craft, and I made a, kind of cool music video out of it. And people have been asking me how I did that thing, and of course I want to show you. So on Saturday on my channel here on YouTube, I will be live streaming a live haQ episode in where I'm going through all of the elements that makes up that surface. Everything I did, what I was thinking, what was going on as I worked on it, and all of that good stuff. So you'll be able to see and hear everything. So tune in on Saturday. Thank you so much for watching. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. I've also got a Patreon page, so if you want to support creativity and good content here on YouTube, then why not sign up on Patreon? Now, if that isn't your cup of tea, then you can always share my videos, press the envelope. Not the envelope, because I saw envelope there. Press the thumbs up if you feel that my videos deserve it. Right, so as usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.